for President Bush's decision to order the National Security Agency to eavesdrop on U.S. citizens inside the country without the legally required court warrants. Bush's decision was first revealed in the New York Times mid-December. The Times published the expose after holding the story for more than a year under pressure from the White House. The paper reportedly first uncovered the illegal order prior to the 2004 election. When the editors at the Times decided last month to go ahead with the article, President Bush personally summoned the paper's publisher, Arthur Sulzberger, and executive editor Bill Keller to the Oval Office in an attempt to talk them out of running the story. Since the story broke, calls for congressional hearings and the possible impeachment of the president have intensified. Conservative legal experts have even admitted Bush may have committed an impeachable offense by ordering the NSA to break the law. On Sunday, the New York Times revealed there was dissent even within the upper echelon of the Bush administration over the legality of the president's order. According to the New York Times, Attorney General John Ashcroft's top deputy, James Comey, refused to sign on to the continuation of the secret program in 2004 amid concerns about its legality and oversight. At the time, Comey was serving in place of then Attorney General John Ashcroft while Ashcroft was hospitalized for a medical condition. Comey's refusal prompted senior presidential aides Andrew Card and Alberto Gonzales to visit Ashcroft in his hospital room to grant the approval. The Times reports Ashcroft expressed reluctance to sign on the program. It's unclear if he eventually relented. Both Ashcroft and Comey's concerns appear to have led to a temporary suspension of parts of the program for several months, but the administration has repeatedly defended its actions. This is President Bush speaking on Sunday.
Ed, I can say that if somebody from Al-Qaeda is calling you, we'd like to know why. In the meantime, this program is conscious of people's civil liberties, as am I. This is a limited program designed to prevent attacks on the United States of America. And I repeat, limited. And it's limited to calls from outside the United States to calls within the United States. But they are of known numbers of known Al-Qaeda members or affiliates. And I think most Americans understand the need to find out what the enemy's thinking. And that's what we're doing. We're at war with a bunch of cold-blooded killers who will kill on a moment's notice. And I have a responsibility, obviously, to act within the law, which I'm doing. It's a program that's been reviewed constantly by Justice Department officials, a program to which the Congress has been briefed, and a program that is, in my judgment, necessary to win this war and to protect the American people.
That was President Bush speaking Sunday. Meanwhile, the Washington Post is reporting the NSA passed on records of intercepted email and phone calls to other government agencies, including the FBI, the Defense Intelligence Agency, the CIA, and the Department of Homeland Security. This news comes on the heels of several other reports that the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force, military intelligence, and local police departments have all been engaged in monitoring peaceful groups, including Greenpeace, PETA, the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, Catholic worker, anti-war groups, and even cyclists in New York City. During the 60s and 70s, the military used NSA intercepts to maintain files on U.S. peace activists. It was this domestic surveillance that led Congress to intervene and pass Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act of 1978 in order to prevent future such abuses. The statute permits domestic intelligence surveillance with the approval of a court order from the FISA court. In 1975, Senator Frank Church, a Democrat from Idaho, said, quote, "We have a particular obligation to examine the NSA in light of its tremendous potential for abuse. The interception of international communications signals sent through the air is the job of NSA, and thanks to modern technological developments, it does its job very well. The danger lies in the ability of the NSA to turn its awesome technology against domestic communications," Church said. Congress is now considering holding a new round of hearings on Bush's domestic spying program. A bipartisan group of senators have already issued their public support, including several top Republicans, including Senator Dick Lugar of Indiana, Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, and Arlen Specter of Pennsylvania. This is Democratic Senator Patrick Leahy of Vermont.
And this warrantless eavesdropping program is not authorized by the Patriot Act. It's not authorized by any act of Congress, and it's not overseen by any court. According to the reports, it's being conducted under a secret presidential order based on secret legal opinions by the same Justice Department lawyers, the same ones who argued secretly that the president could order the use of torture. Mr. President, it is time to have some checks and balances in this country. We are a democracy. We are a democracy. Let's have checks and balances, not secret orders and secret courts and secret torture and on and on.
That was Vermont Senator Patrick Leahy. 2 weeks ago, a former NSA intelligence officer publicly announced he wants to testify before Congress. His name is Russell Tice. For the past 2 decades, he's worked in the intelligence field, both inside and outside of government, most recently with the National Security Agency and the Defense Intelligence Agency. He was fired in May of 2005 after he spoke out as a whistleblower. In his letter, Tice wrote, quote, "It's with my oath as a U.S. intelligence officer weighing heavy on my mind that I wish to report to Congress acts I believe are unlawful and unconstitutional. The freedom of the American people cannot be protected when our constitutional liberties are ignored and our nation has decayed into a police state." Russell Tice joins us now in our Washington studio. Welcome to Democracy Now!
Good morning.
It's good to have you with us.
Well, thank you.
What made you decide to come forward? You work for the top secret agency of this government, one that is far larger and even more secret than the CIA.
Well, the main reason is, I'm involved with some certain aspects of the intelligence community which are very closely held. And I believe I've seen some things that are illegal. Ultimately, it's Congress's responsibility to conduct oversight in these things.
Like World
I don't
Trade
see it
Centers
happening.
coming down.
Another reason is there was a certain roadblock that was sort of lifted that allowed me to do this, and I can't explain, but I will to Congress if allowed to.
Can you talk about the letter you've written to Congress, your request to testify?
Oh, it's just a simple request under the Intelligence Community Whistleblower Protection Act, which is a legal means to contact Congress and tell them that you believe that something is going wrong in the intelligence community.
Can you start off by talking overall, since most people until recently, until this latest story of President Bush engaging in these wiretaps of American citizens as well as foreign nationals in this country, perhaps hadn't even heard of the NSA. Can you just describe it for us? What is the National Security Agency? How does it monitor these communications?
Well, the National Security Agency is an agency that deals with monitoring communications for the defense of the country. The charter basically says that the NSA will deal with communications of overseas. We're not allowed to go after Americans, and I think ultimately that's what the big fuss is now. But as far as the details of how NSA does that, unfortunately, I'm not at liberty to say that. I'm going to walk out of here and end up in an FBI interrogation room.
Russell Tice, you've worked for the National Security Agency. Can you talk about your response to the revelations that the Times, revealed in perhaps late, knowing the story well before the election, yet revealing it a few weeks ago, the revelation of the wiretapping of American citizens?
Well, as far as an intelligence officer, especially a SIGINT officer at NSA, we're taught from very early on in our careers that you just do not do this. This is probably the #1 commandment of the SIGINT 10 Commandments as a SIGINT officer. You will not spy on Americans. It is drilled into our head over and over and over again in security briefings, at least twice a year, where you ultimately have to sign a paper that says you've gotten the briefing. Everyone at NSA who's a SIGINT officer knows that you do not do this. Ultimately, so do the leaders of NSA, and apparently the leaders of NSA have decided that they were just going to go against the tenets of something that's a gospel to a SIGINT officer.
We're talking to Russell